We've been rolling our cameras the entire time that the people have been arriving at the High Court in Durban. Law enforcement agencies say the preparations ahead of former President Jacob Zuma's court appearance are very, very tight. We've seen that. Let's look at some of the visuals now. We can tell you who has arrived there at the court, and we're looking inside. And I know from before some of the visuals, we saw the former COO here at the SABC, Ayanda Mhlongo. He is one of the guests that have gone, one of his supporters, certainly their former minister, Des van Rooyen, also was there. And certainly Ellen Chabalala, we saw her. She, of course, was the board chair here at the SABC, as well as a host of other faces known to be firm and staunch supporters of former President Jacob Zuma. Ayanda Mhlongo is there. Let's go to her. Let's see. Obviously, she's been right outside the court today. We know that the former president is facing 16 counts of fraud, money laundering and racketeering. Ayanda, you've been watching those arriving. I've named a few. Who else have you spotted going in, the firm supporters there?
Yeah, good morning to you once again, Leanne, and to our viewers. But let's firstly say that President Jacob Zuma or former President Jacob Zuma taking most of us by surprise. We had expected him just before 9 o'clock, and he quietly coming through, walking in. In fact, the program, what we had been told by those that had been rallying for support, the religious leaders, was that they would have been here to receive him. There was supposed to be a short prayer outside the steps, just from where we are, before they make their way in to the court. And so he basically came in, and there was hardly anyone here to receive him. He was just flanked by his security, and went straight into court. And I heard you there, Leanne, speaking about the supporters, former SABC boss, Mr. Mhlongo, as well as former Minister Des van Rooyen. We've also seen from the MKMVA, Mr. Carl Niehaus, also some of the provincial ANC leaders. They've also made their way here into court. We've also seen, of course, the representative from Thales, the French arms company, which is the co-accused, Ms. Christine Guerre. She's also accompanied with her legal counsel. They've also made their way here inside court, and we understand that the proceedings should start at 9 o'clock, where the former president will be appearing before Judge Themba Seshi. Now, we have been told, Leanne, that it could be a very brief appearance this morning. As you know, that while all eyes have been or will be on side in terms of the court proceedings, but there's certainly been a lot that has taken place in the build-up to today. And so far as President Jacob Zuma, concerns around his legal costs, etc., that today he might not have a legal representative. But just to speak to us about what we can expect from the actual court proceedings, I'm now joined by Advocate Advocate, thank you so much for your time this morning. We were chatting with you earlier on, and you said that it's likely that it's going to be a very short appearance.
Thank you for having me, and yes, it's more likely that it's going to be a very short, a very brief, because it's probably going to be an application for a postponement. So what we can expect today is that he will make an application to stay the proceedings, particularly postpone, so that the issue around the legal costs and whether he's going to have to pay for his own legal costs is concluded, because that is the grand matter here. So according to Section 35 and Section 73 of the Constitution, you have a right to legal representation, and the court jealously protects that. So it's not likely that the proceedings will continue without him knowing his position with regard to legal representation.
The other discussion has been on whether or not he may seek a stay of prosecution. We know that last time when he did appear, there was an indication that he would ask for a review from the NPA, supposed to have submitted that application by the 15th of May, which did not take place. Could he today in court also speak about that or seek that stay of prosecution?
Well, it will all depend on back to the actual matter, whether he has legal representation or not, because the the proceedings have stopped because he says he doesn't have legal representation. With regard to the stay of prosecution, it is the discretion of the National Director of Public Prosecutions to decide whether to stay the proceedings or not. While that decision is reviewable, it would be a pile-up of issues surrounding the case, which it could happen, but it's not likely.
Edric, thank you so much for your time, and I know you'll be joining us throughout the day today, and we'll be following, of course, those court proceedings, which are expected to start at 9 o'clock when the former President Jacob Zuma will appear before Judge Themba Sishi, as well as together with the co-accused from the French arms company Thales. And of course, it's not just inside the court that all eyes will be following in terms of the proceedings, but also there's going to be a lot of activity outside the court, and as we know that thousands of supporters of the former president are expected to converge outside the court. Last time, once he was done, he then went out to address his supporters, and that is what we were told is going to happen today. So once he leaves the court, he will then go out and address the supporters that are said to have come from all over the country. At the moment, it is still pretty much quiet. I know last time, by this time, there was quite a lot of people that had converged outside. We know that that march is underway now as they make their way down West Street or Pixley Kaseme Street here to the court. But of course, we are here with my colleagues, Sibonga Gonkembata. She's with the march at the moment. We also have my colleague Mlungisi Khumalo, who will be outside interacting with some of the supporters of the former president. So certainly a lot to look forward to. A lot is going to be happening here at the Durban High Court. We're going to leave it there for now, Leanne, and take things back to you.
Thanks very much, Ayanda Mhlongo, who, as you heard, is live at the court. Let's take a break. We'll have more after this. Do stay tuned.